They were singing, "We belong, we belong." I've been out to Aboriginal mission places. Just bumped in this morning to a very nice woman called by the name of Erica, who works in the Broome Diocese. She was showing us around. I went with her. I'd like to take high school kids out there to explore Australia and to meet with the Aborigines and to understand the Indigenous culture here. And Beagle Bay, she took us out to Beagle Bay as a mission place at the north of Broome, where it's a Catholic mission, where they're able, because in the past, the Aborigines have suffered, and they continue to suffer, with this plight, but they would use them for what was known as blackbirding. They would forcibly make them dive for pearls, and this place in Beagle Bay, which has a church built by Aborigines, was a place where the Aborigines were able to find sanctuary. They weren't able to be taken away, if you were. So that was quite really something. I'm sure Erica would have been very touched too. I'd like to catch up with her afterwards about this. In seeing how the Aborigines are here, have been so involved, and really that sense of belonging.
Yes,
is great.
Yes. Now, with the Pope now would be the bishops
and the cardinals
and the cardinals, and all. We've talked about, I think, 400 bishops and cardinals here altogether. Would they all be involved in the Mass today somehow? Certainly.
They'll be concelebrating with the Holy Father. It's a great sign of the unity of the Church, to be gathered around the Pope. And the Holy Father has before he became Pope, wrote about the importance of the Mass, being connected to the Pope. In the Mass, you'll find that they make mention of the Pope's name. We always make mention of the Pope's name. We are always very united with Rome, and the local bishop always gets a mention too. It's the whole Church.
Okay. And if Friday was a reenactment of Good Friday, then today is the day of the resurrection.
Absolutely. Sunday is the Easter of the week. On the Thursday, where Christ instituted the Last Supper, the Eucharist, which we will find in the middle of the Mass, where he spoke those words, "This is my body, this is my blood." Good Friday gave content to that, if you want. It wasn't just a symbol, it became reality. Although it was foreseen on that Thursday. But Sunday, the day of the resurrection, we celebrate Christ who dies, Christ who has risen, Christ who will come again. And that in symbol, but also in reality. That's the thing about what's known as a sacrament, is that all of this will be made present to us in a very special way in the Mass, so that we too can be present at Christ's death and at his resurrection and at his ascension.
It was an extraordinary shot then, as you were speaking, Richard, of the racetrack, and the cameras didn't extend, but we know in Centennial Park it's an estimated 200,000 extra who are looking at the big screens in Centennial Park. So it's exceeded all expectations, hasn't it? It's extraordinary. And as you see the Pope come here, you're reminded that we're watching, a ritual, a religious ritual that goes down the centuries.
Well, you even read, the first Christians wrote about this Mass. You read a philosopher by the name of Saint Justin Martyr from the 2nd century, who wrote to the Roman Emperor in defence of the Christians, and basically what he outlined is what we will celebrate now.
Yes.
We'll begin in the name of the Blessed Trinity, because the Mass is, above all, the most important part of the Mass is not what we do, it's what God does. It's perhaps what we don't see, but what we have to believe with faith is really what centres it for a Catholic. It's a work of God, a work of the Blessed Trinity. That's why we begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. But the Mass is it's the source of Catholic life, and it's really the event that we live for, because it's Christ himself who will be made present with us.
And is this very different from the Cardinals' Mass, for example, on Tuesday?
Having the Pope present,
yes.
but the main thing is Jesus. And he's present, even your local parish priest. Perhaps he's half distracted, but Jesus is there in your local parish. The Holy Father kisses the altar because it represents Jesus Christ. And that's the place where the sacrifice takes of in. We have a priest and an altar. That's why the Mass is a sacrifice. There's only one priest. Jesus is the only priest. But we participate in different